Word Laos.
Welcome to Travel Talk, brought to you by the Hotel Guide, the global voice of luxury and boutique hospitality. Featuring Edward Leos.
Good morning, everybody. Edward Leos here, publisher of the Hotel Guide and your host of Travel Talk. Really excited about today's episode. I have a good friend of mine, Janine Pezarro, who's the CEO and actually founder of the Pezarro Group. And I'm really excited about what she's doing and to share her philosophies and what's going on with her company with the rest of the world. Janine, how are you doing today?
Good, thank you. I'm like a South African export in Vancouver, and I never understood why they talked about the weather so much. And on this beautiful day, like, I get it. I talk about the weather so much because when it's good, it's phenomenal. So yeah, it's great today.
The importance of being in a good environment, which we actually lead into everything you're talking about. Being in a good environment is so important. As I like to do with all my guests, because everyone who's listening is like, well, who are we talking to today, Edward? Tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got, some of your background, and then kind of how you got to your position now, and then we'll kind of lead into, what the company's doing and going from there.
Magic. I honestly think I've been preparing for this business my entire life. And it really all started with my absolute love of baking with my grandmother and with my mother. Like, that's where it all started, was just this love of watching people just be in so much joy with eating something that you provide. So I was in hospitality and have been in hospitality for a number of years. And I started off as a chef, and then I specialized in pastry chef, traveled all over the world being a pastry chef. And in between that, I also did a BA degree in communications and sales. Like, those were my things, but it all came back down to people and what made them happy. And that was really the crux of it. And every sort of lesson that I've learned from then on, having gone through a lot of really traumatizing times when I was a kid, I became obsessed with how can I be the best version of myself? What is the skills I need to learn? And yeah, it went far past meditation or anything like that. It was this 25 years of obsessive research in terms of what makes people tick.
Yeah. Well, and again, that leads us to why we're here today. So tell us a little bit about the Pezarro Group, what you're doing, and then let's talk about, like, what are your big visions and plans for the organization as well.
Amazing. I feel very privileged to be creating this company. I've been coaching executive CEOs for about 8 years, 3 years very much all in. And the problem kept coming up of they were always exhausted. They were always tired. They always had low energy. Their restoration during the day was unheard of. And there was always this commonality, both within my clients, but also within myself, that every time that I would travel, I would literally pack a suitcase just for all of the things that I needed in order to have a restful night's sleep. And I just thought, this is not it. This can't be it. If you're doing everything right at home and you're eating good and you have your Oura ring on and you have all of these things, why is it that when you go on holiday or you go to a hotel, the promise is not there? And so I knew I couldn't do this alone. And so I've spoken to sleep specialists and industry leaders and experts, and really just spent the last 8 months understanding not only the philosophy, the psychology, but also what is the science behind what a human being, not, this person because they have more money than this person, what a human being across the globe, in any country, in any shape or form, would require on a basic level to have a good night's sleep and to have a restorative moment. So that's what I built. I built the standard.
The standard. So talk a little bit about the standard, because we've talked offline before, we've had several conversations, and obviously you know that I'm a big fan of wellness, but also sleep and the importance that it plays in a daily life, not just when you're at home, but especially when you're traveling, and being able to take that into your, to your travel plans. Just how important is sleep, number one? And number two, what are some of the things that you're looking to do with the company to really be aligned with the hospitality industry for that?
Yeah, so I love talking about the things that are going right. Like, what is the travel industry doing right, and what are hotels doing right? The first thing is hotels they're trying. They are trying, and they've been trying for a good amount of years. But if you have no idea what the measurable standard is, how would you know whether what you're doing is being beneficial or not? And so that is the first thing that we have done, is that we have, with all the science, with all the research, with all the psychologists, et cetera, is that we've created a standard and a benchmark that any and every single hotel can then have an audit by us and then be certified, so that not only does the hotel know we have this standard, we know that we are doing the right things at the right time, we're not wasting money on things that we think are going to be beneficial to our guests, but these are things that actually are beneficial. And you know what? This costs us $5 per room versus the genuine cost of maybe $10,000. And that one didn't really work very well. So the first thing is we created the standard. So that not only can a hotel know what they're doing, but a guest can also know this hotel is certified by this group, and across the world the standard's the same.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the biggest things, having those standards across the board, and you taking that and kind of doing that. Are there particular type of properties that you're really targeting to kind of get this off the ground, and what are some of your goals going into the rest of the year, and maybe some of the vision for the company in general?
Yeah. So we only focus on luxury hospitality and luxury hotels. And we have a perimeter in which we will look at different hotels, because this is the section within the market that is already doing these sorts of things. And they're already doing the sleep amenities and the pillow menus and all of that sort of stuff. So they already are, everyone is in the know, but these are the ones that actually maybe have the added room to be able to spend on that, or they have the foresight to sort of see where this is going. So we really are starting there and doing the certification within that space, also so that we're not all over the place all at the same time. We want to be very specific. We want to be very intentional with who we start with and where we start, because trust is probably the most important thing, in that the science that we have, the psychologists that we have, we want the hotels to be able to not only understand that yes, everything on paper is the right way, but also to phone me and say, Janine, like, I trust that this is what we need to do for our hotel and for our group, and that it's going to benefit not only us on the finance side, but also our guests that come and stay. To answer your second question, where to from here? I think it's I call it sleeping in my office, when you literally are doing 12 to 14-hour days, working on the business, self-funding, bootstrapping, doing all the, like, you're the master of everything and the perfectionist of none. It's sort of a wonderful space to be in, and terrifying at the same time. The goal for this year is to, we've done 3 pilots in terms of hotels. We've done New York, we've done Brazil, we've done Mexico, and now we really are in the launch and implementation phase for clients. And this then we will then move into actually reaching out to hotels and starting to actively launch the program.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm looking forward to the activation and seeing how we can help you along doing that as well. So I'm really excited about what you're doing with the company. It's time for that to be the level, the standard that's out there. But let's shift a little bit from the professional side to the personal side. And I always like to ask my guests about travel, since we are a travel podcast.
Yeah.
Tell me what some of your favorite travel destinations have been, and then we got to have some bucket lists. What is on your bucket list for travel?
Well, there's so many. I was thinking about this last night, and I gotta say there are quite a few, but there are two specific trips that I've taken. I call them the humblers because they have been the most extraordinary experiences. They really have humbled me as a person and also changed how I see things. The first one was definitely climbing the Himalayas and doing a trek through the Himalayas. Yes, the trek was phenomenal, but the most extraordinary part of it was just seeing the beauty and the simplicity in everyday living of the people that are living in these small little villages and making their fresh bread every day, and they're happy and they're smiling, and they just, nothing is being taken for granted, and there's no Chanel store or Birkin or anything like that. It's just so peaceful.
Yeah.
That was the most beautiful one. And the second one that also was life-changing was Antarctica. You're in between these monstrous glaciers, seeing the color blue that you can't ever describe to anybody because it was just so awe-striking. Yeah, it made me feel like, oh, okay, I'm like a speck.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Yeah, that was really, really beautiful. The bucket list, gosh, I have a lot, I've never been to Greece or Spain or Italy, and I'd love to look at those. And my absolute favorite would probably, or number one on the list, is Japan. I would love to live in Japan. I feel like I'm really deeply rooted in the philosophy, and my executives course that I take, or that I take executives on, that is rooted in the samurai and the Bushido code. And yeah, I take executives through a 12-week rooted in the Bushido, and I love it. It's so extraordinary. And also the Pezarro group is deeply rooted in ancient wisdoms, philosophy. It's really what makes us unique and different, because we're not just thinking about the science. We're not just thinking modern day.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going back to 5,000 years and saying, what did they do then? What was their understanding of sleep and restoration? And how can we learn from those decades and decades ago? And also from, the lady that I met on the side of the mountain in the Himalayas. Like, what are those moments telling me that I can implement into the business that will help hotels come back to that simplicity?
Yeah, I love how you're interweaving everything, your stories of the travel you've been to, and the ones you want to go to. So I think that's going to lend itself to the success of your business. We got a couple of minutes left, but what is the best way for people to find you, contact you, website, if they want to learn more about the Pezarro Group and yourself?
It's really simple, pezarrogroup.com or JaninePezarro.com. And you can find me on LinkedIn is the best way to find me. And I really appreciate experts in the industry, leaders in the industry, giving me their time, letting me ask questions, helping me along this journey, because this is a company that can only be built with everyone's support. and everyone's guidance. And I knew that from the first second that I was like, I'm going to do this, was that this is a community built company, and it will thrive if everyone is on board.
No, I agree. And I'm excited about where you're going to be going. But it's been an absolute pleasure, Janine, having you on the podcast. I'm sure it won't be the last time you're on a guest on the show, but it's really been informative. And I know our listeners are going to love learning more about you and the company as well.
Thank you, Edward. I'm really appreciative, and I appreciate you taking the time to interview little me, and hopefully, as we go along, it'll be exciting to see how the business grows.
No, we're excited for you. So to all of our listeners and readers out there, you know the drill. Follow us at thehotelguide.com. Please subscribe to the podcast. All in the show notes, you'll find Janine's contact information and also a website for her company. But we're excited about the future. As we always like to say, travel and make memories. And until next time, everyone, take care, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks so much.